Hello everybody and welcome to another story time with Crowland Community Hub. I hope everybody's well, and this is the story for the older children and viewers amongst you. We are today reading a huge hit in our house, but also my personal favourite, I think, of all the Julia Donaldson, although it's a tough one to call, isn't it? And we are doing The Snail and the Whale by Julia Donaldson and illustrated by Axel Scheffler. Now, in this book, there are loads of beautiful, beautiful images and pictures that come into our heads, lots of beautiful word pictures and things we can imagine. But I'm going to need some help, please, as usual, because I cannot do it on my own. I'm going to need lots of voices and sounds. So the first one I think we have is the waves. It's all nice and serene and calm, and you just get to listen to the lovely story. And then when we have waves that arch and crash and foam and frolic and spray and splash, I want you to see some beautiful big waves with our arms. We can do psh, or you can do them to the side. Psh. I don't mind what you do, but I want to see some lovely, lovely waves. That would be wonderful. And then after that, we've got a thunderstorm. So we can have rain, some claps of thunder, or you can do it with your mouth if you want. I've no idea what you're going to do, but I want a really amazing thunderstorm. That would be great. And then after that, we have some speedboats, which are very important to the story because they, unfortunately, lead the whale onto a beach, which is a bit of a problem. So speedboats, I would like to hear your best speedboat noises, please. Lots of lots of lovely noises of fast, crazy, crashing speedboats. That would be great. And then the last noise I think we can have is, to save the whale, we have the fire engines. So lots of nee-no, 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 which I'm sure you will do amazingly. So I'm very excited to hear them all because I want to hear them all the way through Crowland, please. That would be amazing. So here we go. The Snail and the Whale by Julia Donaldson, illustrated by Axel Scheffler. And I have permission to read this to you today from Macmillan Publishing. Here we go. This is a tale of a tiny snail and a great big grey-blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. So here we have the rock, and on that rock lives a snail. There she is. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. And as she gazed, she sniffed and sighed. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. There's a picture of the dock. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock, and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wriggle, sit still, stay put." But the tiny sea snail sighed and sniffed, then cried, "I've got it! I'll hitch a lift." So there's all the other snails on the rock that you can see, telling her to just jolly well be quiet and stay where you are. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looped and curled and said, "Lift wanted around the world." So there's the trail, the snail making a trail, and here is the rock where she writes the important message for someone to come and pick her up. Let's see if they do. This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright, a humpback whale immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starlit sea and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." So here we have the wonderful whale with the stars talking to the snail. This is the sea so wild and free that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands. Look at those. With fiery mountains and golden sands. Look at that. Now here we've got our waves, everyone. Just get your waves ready. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. There they are. Is that what you imagined when you were doing your waves? I bet it is. These are the caves beneath the waves, where stripy fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam round the whale and the snail on his tail. This is the sky so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm. Let's have your wonderful thunderstorms, everyone. With zigzag lightning flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. There it is. Look at those lovely thunderstorms. Excellent. And she gazed at the sky, the sea, the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by it all, and she said to the whale, "I feel so small." But then came the day the whale lost his way. Ready with your speedboats, everybody? These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. There are the speedboats. I think yours sounded excellent. Well done. So there's the whale at the shore. This is the tide slipping away. And this is the whale lying beached in a bay. "Quick! Off the sand, back to the sea," said the snail. "I can't move on land. I'm too big," moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then, "I've got it," she cried, and started to crawl. "I must not fail," said the tiny snail. Look at that. Poor whale. And there goes our snail, determined. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, "Sit straight, don't talk." This is the board as black as soot. And this is the snail with the itchy foot. "A snail! Oh, a snail!" The teacher turns pale. "Look!" say the children. "It's leaving a trail!" This is the trail of the tiny snail. A silvery trail saying, "Save the whale." So the snail found a school with all these children and a strict teacher with a blackboard. And she climbs up onto the blackboard, and with her silvery trail, she writes another message telling them all to save the whale. Do you think they'll listen? These are the children running from school, fetching the fireman, digging a pool. Can we hear our firemen? Ready? Let's get our sirens. Nino, Nino, Nino. Excellent. Oh, lots of lovely fire engines coming out there. Well done, everyone. So I'll do that bit again. These are the children running from school, fetching the fireman, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. Look at how they're helping him. This is the tide coming into the bay, and these are the villagers shouting, "Hooray!" as the whale and the snail travel safely away. Look at that. Well done them. Back to the dock and the flock on the rock, who said, "How time's flown, and haven't you grown?" And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the grey-blue humpback whale. Amazing. Thank you so much, everybody, for all your help. I'll just show you the last 2 pages. There they are coming home. And there's the snail telling all of her friends about everything. And they thought, well, that sounds brilliant. So on they all climb onto the whale's tail. And that's the last page of them all setting sail. Beautiful. Thank you so much for all your help. And I do hope you enjoyed that story as much as I did. And I hope you have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you next time on Storytelling with the Crowland Community Hub.